Okay, so the next person that I want to talk about now, who we have been following his case, is Sebastian Rogers. And of course, this is another very, very strange, sad case. And of course, one of the things that there's a few things come out lately, one of which, of course, is that Sebastian was in fact a victim of sex abuse by another child, a 13-year-old. When he was 7, Sebastian's father now has come out and said that Sebastian was the victim of sex abuse when he was 7 years old. And you can tell he blames the mother, but, of course. But this, again, to me is a very strange case. I have absolutely no idea what happened to Sebastian. I know everybody's looking dimly at the mother and the stepfather, but, again, no evidence. And the police are saying, no evidence so far. The police are saying they've been fully cooperative, and I know the stepfather has got some history of domestic violence and things, but it doesn't necessarily mean that in this case he has done anything to Sebastian. And the other thing I wanted to mention just before we look at this interview, where the father, his biological father, talks about this abuse that Sebastian suffered, and it reveals something quite interesting, I think, though I'm not sure that I'm really happy about him revealing this that had happened to Sebastian. But anyway, because Sebastian, to all intents and purposes, hopefully is still alive. But, this is going to be very embarrassing for Sebastian if he ever does come home safely, to know that this has been broadcast all over international media. But the other thing that it does bring to light is a reason why there was tension in the home. He reveals that Sebastian's stepdad was not happy with Sebastian being around his daughter. So had Sebastian displayed some inappropriate behaviour, maybe as a result of the abuse that he had suffered, when he was 7 years old, because this is what can happen, isn't it? So let's first of all just listen to the interview where Sebastian Rogers' biological father, Seth, talks about the abuse that Sebastian suffered. And you can tell he really, he lays the blame firmly at the mother's hands. Another thing, sorry, that I just want to point out is, just like with Stefan Stearns and Madeline's biological father, they were big pals. Seth and Sebastian's stepfather, good pals. He was more friendly with the stepfather than he is with the mother, because obviously there's bad blood between him and the mother. So he did most of his communications through the stepfather. So they were like big mates. Oh, sorry, I'm not sharing it, am I? I'm going. Sorry.
That's when I have him.
Last night, that is Sebastian's father. And obviously, he and Sebastian's mother, Katie, don't see eye to eye on everything, right? Some discrepancies in how they see how their child should be raised and how he should be parented, how he should be cared for. And he was pointing that out. And he looked at what happened here and he said, yeah, here we go again. So it looks like there's some history here. And I understand parents that aren't together, don't always see eye to eye on everything. But he seemed pretty specific about, again, under her watch. He was not confident in the way that she was handling, parenting, and setting rules and everything else for Sebastian. Take a listen, because he went into more detail about it here, about what he does and what they were working towards, which I thought was really significant.
And what there's no...
Oh, something else I just wanted to say. You remember the video we watched and there was the lights? That apparently has been proven to be, again, apparently, allegedly, because until the police release anything official, we cannot, we can only go by what people say. That was the rubbish truck arriving and leaving, so maybe just to bear in mind. The police had already said it had nothing to do with the investigation, though, to be fair.
Routine, then autistic children don't act the same way they're supposed to. When I've had him, there's a routine in my house when I have him. And he's a teenager. You're going to listen. You're going to hear some back talk probably. I mean, they're growing. They're going to rebel some way. They're teenagers, so you're going to listen to it. You're going to have to deal with it. But you still got to remember that you're a parent. And you have to adjust your lifestyle to be able to make sure that they can adjust and learn and still grow. You can't do some of the things that I've seen her do in the past. Most of my discussions were actually taken care with Chris. And Sebastian was supposed to come live with me. Chris was working on Katie, on getting her to agree to it. And all I wanted was my son to come live with me.
Now, in a YouTube live stream today with the host of Justin on TikTok, Seth Rogers made some shocking claims about an instance of sexual abuse while Sebastian was living in California with his mother, and why Seth says Chris Proudfoot wanted Sebastian to live with him. Before we play this next clip, you should know Court TV has not independently verified these allegations made by Seth.
There was another CPS incident in California at her house. Katie and Chris let a child into their house that was 5 years older than my son. My son was 7 or 8 at the time, and this kid was 13. She has a habit of not checking on her kid. They were letting this kid play with my son, and they weren't checking on him. And then this kid took my son's innocence, and he molested him.
Worst nightmare.
My son around his daughter, because Chris has turned around into my mother told my mom, your grandson's a pedophile.
Now, this is a big allegation against the 13-year-old, of course. I mean, I don't know who the 13-year-old is. I don't, the thing is, sometimes if your friend came round with their friend, with their child, and you would let them play together, maybe probably online gaming or something like that, wouldn't it? They come around and they, go and show me PlayStation or Xbox or whatever. I don't think that makes her a bad mother for that. And if this child then did go and do something to Sebastian, again, if You know, I don't know if this has been proven. I don't know if you know, if the family of that 13-year-old are watching, are they going to be a bit angry about this? I don't know what the background is, if it's been proven, if there's been a court case or what. I don't think you can blame the mother for that, to be honest. That, in my personal opinion. I don't think that means because maybe she was chatting to her friend and the two boys were playing upstairs on the Xbox is her responsibility if then the boy did something. I don't know. Well, you tell me what you think. Was she supposed to sit in the room with them or not let them go upstairs? She wouldn't have had any idea that anything like that. Hey, Tim. Sorry. Stop. Unfortunately. Stop it, Tia. Plot. Yeah, you can see that Seth is upset talking about it. But, you know, I'm not sure that this should have come out. But anyway, it has come out, so we just got to deal with it. But oh, that's right. He seems to insinuate then that the reason that there's tension in the household is because of Sebastian suffering this abuse, and then the stepfather feeling that Sebastian's done something inappropriate, or is worried about Sebastian doing something inappropriate with his daughter. You know, it comes over there's a lot going on in this household.
No, he's not. He's a victim that hasn't got the help that he deserves and that he needs so that he can get over the traumatic incident that has happened to him. That should have never happened underneath their watch to begin with. Yeah. That's why Chris doesn't want my son around his daughter.
That's why Chris doesn't want his son and my son around his daughter. So this is something they've discussed. Something's happened somewhere along the line that for what he's saying here, that Chris does not want his son, Seth's son, Sebastian, around his daughter. So has Sebastian acted out this abuse that he suffered from? You know, has he done something inappropriate? That's what comes over to me here.
Because he's scared that my son is going to do the same thing that was done to him under his watch.
That is heartbreaking. Let's bring in our guest to make some sense of all of this in Miami, Florida, body language and communications expert and instructor at the Body Language Institute. Tiffany Lee is with us. In Pensacola, Florida, private investigator Lauren Vellucci. And in Los Angeles, forensic psychiatrist, trial expert, witness, and columnist Dr. Carol Lieberman. Tiffany Lee, I want to begin with you. You've seen Dad here in several circumstances. I see the emotion. I see the frustration. What are you seeing and hearing from Seth Rogers?
Exactly. Everything you just said, Benny. I mean, when I first started watching clips of him, what we see consistently is, until he talks about the sexual assault, his tone is the same. He doesn't necessarily raise his voice or go really low. His tone is consistent. Even his blink rate, at the rate at which he's blinking his eyes, is consistent with him being truthful and being honest. But what I will say is, whenever he brings up the wife, he does a lip compression, which is where we kind of press our lips together. And that is something that can indicate a strong negative emotion. So definitely watch for that and pay attention, but he really does indicate that there's definitely some tension between the two, for sure.
Dr. Carol Lieberman, something happened, right? Something happens. It seems that from what Seth is saying here, if it's true, there is tension in that home. You've got a 15-year-old boy with autism, teenager, allegedly molested. Stepdad has a daughter that's in the house sometimes. Stepdad allegedly accusing Sebastian of being some sort of pedophile and is afraid of this cycle taking place. To me, this is serious stuff we're talking about, Dr. Lieberman.
Yes, absolutely. And also, when he puts his mouth in that way, it's also, closes it like that. It also reflects his trying to prevent himself from saying what he really thinks about his ex-wife. So, of course, it's a lot of times autistic children, depending upon where.
Now, it's important to say, the mother, Katie, she has made a statement about this. We're going to read that in a moment. I know, I just think this poor boy, he didn't have a chance amongst the freedom, because I don't agree with what Seth has done here, announcing this to the world. I just don't agree with it at all. And I'm not saying that I'm more in favour of... I'm just going to put it in the bathroom. Get in. Sorry. So I had to put it in the bathroom. It's not her fault. There's bangers going on. There's bangers going off outside for some unknown reason. So, yeah, I'm not saying that I agree with him. I'm not saying that. Do you know what? She's just opened the door of the bathroom and come out. Honestly, you bad girl. She literally can open any door. So I put her in the bathroom. She's just pushed the handle and come back out again. Anyway, so yeah, I don't agree with any of it. I feel sorry for Sebastian, because you've got him talking about that. That's a very personal thing that he's talking about online. And then, it seems like the mother and stepfather, I don't know, weren't the best. Who knows? But poor Sebastian in the middle of it all.
They are on the spectrum and exactly what's wrong. They are more vulnerable to getting sexually abused and being abused in general. It's sad that at that point, something should have happened at that point, ideally, that Sebastian should have been taken away from the mother and stepfather. And obviously he would have been a lot better off with his real biological father. And there's also another story about how the mother allowed him to be exposed. This is a different incident, but allowed him to be exposed to a man who had been in jail for pedophilia. Now, there's I have not heard specifically that he did, in fact, that this other man did abuse Sebastian too. But the father was really upset that why is she letting a known pedophile around our son?
Lauren Vellucci, and this has been, I think, the theme from the beginning, right? That children don't just vanish. They don't just disappear. Something happened. Now we're hearing about a little bit about potential tension in this home, a reason for him to perhaps want to leave, a reason for there to be conflict, a reason for something to happen. And I think this is an avenue, as they've described everyone as cooperating, but I think investigators would need to sort of peel back the layers of everything that was happening here.
Absolutely. And Hendersonville is actually a town that I know a good bit about. I have a dear friend that grew up there. It's also where Taylor Swift.
There's so much more to this case, isn't there? It is like layers coming off, because it started off as an autistic boy disappeared, presumably with no shoes on, and now it's turned into this whole different thing with lots of different elements to it, isn't it? And it's a conundrum. It really is. And at the heart of it is Sebastian. And of course, it's caused such other things, like, the arguments, like ego battles online between the YouTubers and the Cajun Navy and all that thing. It's sort of turned into this circus. But at the end of the day, in the middle of it all, is Sebastian, who's the one who's disappeared, and it gets forgotten with the arguments between the parents, the ego battles between all the. What about Sebastian? He's getting lost in it. This makes me a bit angry, because all the focus should just be on Sebastian. I really do not like this vase, this hand with these flowers coming out. It gives me the absolute creeps. So I'm just totally changing the subject. Just sorry, whoever you are, Lauren. Don't like that at all. I think it's creepy.
Went to high school, and it's a very safe community. It's a great place to raise a family. So as you were saying that, I was thinking that when Seth Rogers last night said that he mostly communicated with the stepdad, that was odd to me in a lot of reasons. And it signals to me that there is a tumultuous relationship. So if he was potentially going to live back with his father, this is sad, but we have seen it so many times that the mom or dad or family member potentially not wanting them, but not wanting the other spouse to have the child. And that's the worst case scenario, but it has happened, sadly, and we know about that. So that is a concern as well.
Yeah, I agree. And I think understanding all the dynamics and anything that's happening in their lives, because it can go many different ways. It can give him a reason to want to get out of the house as well, but there has to be a reason. Children don't just vanish.
Right, I think that's the end of that. Yeah. So what we're going to have a look at now is the response statement from Katie Proudfoot, the mother. We're going to look what she said in response to that interview that Seth made. So she went on Facebook and said, "That child was not 13 and we did not allow my son to be abused. We contacted all authorities. My son received all the available help he could get, multiple therapists involved. His doctor did know because he went to the doctor and got checked immediately. Seth was involved in his therapy as well. There is so many lies in this story. The story included him failing to mention where Seth got banned from the base for his violent tendencies, where at the time my son was seeking psychiatrists and psychologists to help him with his trauma from Seth's abuse and the trauma from being assaulted by this child. Let me be clear, I think it's sickening that this man is airing my son's trauma online. My son deserves better than that. When we find him, and I believe in my heart we will, the truth will come out. He's doing his best to slander us as parents, but my son is loved and cared for and always will be. Public opinion based on lies, assumptions, half-truths is rampant because of things like this, which has nothing to do with finding Sebastian. I will not stoop so low as to partake in a back and forth argument with him. God knows the truth, and the truth always comes out. Please stop the madness and focus on finding Sebastian, because that is the most important thing. But personally, I do agree with them, and I don't know who's in the right, who's in the wrong, who's telling the truth, who isn't telling the truth. She's saying that Seth has been abusive. It just seems to me there's so much animosity between them. It's he said, she said, and who do you believe? I just don't know. I don't know. And I agree with her in some of the things she says there. Seth should not have gone on a YouTube channel and announced that his son had been abused. So poor Sebastian, when he is found, if he is found alive and well, now we know that the whole world knows all his dirty laundry, like what happened to him. So no, personally, I don't agree with that at all. Anyway, that's more or less, is that, no. So the other thing I wanted to talk to you about as far as Sebastian was concerned, I don't know if you saw, I watched, let's see, because there's a YouTuber called Olivia, is she went to, she was invited, I believe, to the Rogers home for an exclusive interview, wasn't she? With the parents shortly after Sebastian went missing, and I've got that somewhere. Sorry, I'm going to have to put her out the back again. No, I'm not leaving you there. Going out here. Come on. Come here. Out. Come here. Come on. Back here. Oh. Okay, I've actually put her out the back now where she can't open the door and come back. So she'll still bark every time a banger goes off, but you won't be able to hear it so loud. No, I know, Bridget, it's not the dog's fault. It is the banger's fault, but I don't know how long they're going to go on for. I don't even know what they're about. Okay, so let's go back to this. So the Chronicles of Olivia. And she, let's see. Yeah, she's a TikToker, a YouTuber, and she actually went to their home and interviewed them. So let's have a look at that. All the dogs in the village are barking.
Doing compelling work in the world of true crime. There, at the time of one of the searches for Sebastian, she also went to the house and interviewed Sebastian's mom and stepdad. Take a look. And joining me right now, the TikToker behind Chronicles of Olivia, Olivia Vitale. Olivia, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really do appreciate it. Let me start here. You go to the home, to the house. When you walked in there and you met Sebastian's mom and stepdad, what were some of the first impressions that you had?
In terms of my first impressions, they were very nice. I went with my mother along with a colleague of mine who works for Crime Scene Collective, which I'm an executive producer on. And they were welcoming, nice, and that's how they treated us.
Did you get to walk around the house at all? Did you see his room, anything? Or did they just want to sit and do the interview?
They did want me to see Sebastian's room, but unfortunately I didn't have the chance to. I got so carried away with his mother. She was showing me pictures of Sebastian and it was a bittersweet moment. However, my colleague Ethan did enter Sebastian's room with Chris, and what my colleague tells me is that the room was clean, it was ordinary. There was a private bathroom, a twin bed, and a window that faces the front yard.
I've looked at it. Seems like a really beautiful neighborhood, great house. It's where you would want to raise a family. You were taking part in some of the searches there. Can you describe the area, the areas where the searches were, the area around the house? How would you describe all of that?
Well, the area is fairly wooded. There is, it's the suburbs. There's neighborhoods, but there are areas we searched near one of the highways and just kind of around in the area. But there is trees and forest in that area.
Okay, sorry, I had to go for a bathroom break then. But so I just want to say about Olivia, I like her channel because as well, she's not judgmental. She doesn't make any assumptions. She just presents it and, you know, lets people make their own mind up. But she's not accusing anybody. She's not coming up with anything, you know, battling her ego with anybody else. So I quite like that.
That's outside of Nashville. There's definitely more, as you can see.
What was your takeaway from that interview? This is a story. I know you cover a lot of stories, but this is one where everyone who's looking at this feels like There's nothing.
Yeah, she does look like Sade, doesn't she? Yeah, she's a very attractive girl. Yeah, a bit of Sade.
There's not a clue. There's like no information. This is a 15-year-old who seemingly has vanished. Is there anything that sort of struck you as, well, wait a minute, that doesn't happen. Something happened here, and maybe something you're thinking about, something that maybe folks on the ground there were thinking about could have happened here. Because like from the outside looking in, it's like this young man just vanished.
You know, it's a mystery. I wish I had the answer to that question. I mean, I didn't see anything unusual in their home. It's actually very beautiful, very spacious, and it's a beautiful neighborhood, a lot of big houses. And they were very nice and cordial with me and my mother and my friend, Ethan. And I have no idea. It is a mystery. In terms of the conference yesterday, the chief deputy did say there is no evidence to suggest foul play.
I know. So, but something happened, right? We all know that something happened. Either he was lured outside, walked outside, or something else happened. What's the lingering question that you have tonight, Olivia, about?
Yeah, the thing you have to remember, she's got a TikToker and a YouTube channel. She can't go around saying anything judgmental about anybody, because she doesn't want to be, sued or for malicious communication or defamation. I don't know how some YouTubers, etc. I don't really know how they get away with the things they say. Because and that they do spoil it for others. That's where all the bad reputation comes from. Until something's proven, you have got to be careful. Just because it's YouTube doesn't mean to say you can say anything, accuse anyone. You've got to still have evidence. You can speculate is one thing, presenting all the evidence, or not the evidence, but, presenting all the circumstances. And then the commentators can, the chatters, you can say more or less what you want. I don't think in comments, well, what you say is what you say, so that's your opinion. So the YouTuber themselves cannot be picked up for what somebody else says. But the thing is, as a YouTuber, you do have to be careful, because YouTube is so careful now as well, much more careful than they were. And I personally, I like this interview with this girl because, she did. And the thing is, because she's not judgmental, that's how she got invited in to do this interview. So that's how you get evidence and things. If you're nice to people, they'll give you interviews and things. And that gives, people want to watch these interviews, so they shouldn't really criticize her. They should be aware that if it wasn't for her, they wouldn't even have this interview to watch.
Sebastian, and what happened here, or what question needs to be answered?
In terms of a question that needs to be answered, I mean, it is a mystery. I wonder about security footage, or if possibly maybe there's somewhere out there a certain building or something that may have just that one bit of security footage, or that could show maybe something, or maybe someone out there knows something and they just need to see Sebastian's face, which is really important. I think the point of the interview is to bring awareness to Sebastian, and that's something that, another thing is we didn't want to focus on speculation or rumor-driven theories, just facts that could lead to hopefully find Sebastian.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Obviously, everyone is watching your interview, and everyone that watches it sees his face. Everyone that sees his face, now you spread it, and hopefully someone out there has that one lead that leads to an answer here. Olivia Vitale, great to have you on the program. Chronicles of Olivia, TikTok, YouTube, everywhere. Great work you're doing. Thanks so much.
Chronicles of Olivia.
Yeah, so her YouTube channel looks interesting. I hadn't heard of it before this, so it has given her, obviously, exposure. But she's given us an interview there with them that we wouldn't have had otherwise. Okay, so just another couple of things that I just want to show you about Sebastian. Now, Nancy Grace said that Sebastian's stepfather, in the end, didn't take the polygraph. So we're just going to look at that.
Sebastian's dad, his bio dad, Sebastian, Seth, I don't understand that, because he told me he would take a polygraph if I set it up. I set it up. I went through a lot of hoops to get it set up. One convenient to him in the area where he says he's working. Then he wouldn't take it and blames the TBI. So now I find out he's told other outlets he's taken one and passed. Do you know the truth?
I don't. I really don't know, but I'll tell you what, I volunteered to take polygraph. I was told that I wasn't. I didn't need to because they have my location and whereabouts, but I still volunteered. And if somebody wants me to take one, that's something of my own free will. I haven't been told by TBI that I can't take one.
So he's not going to take it, apparently, according to Nancy. He's not going to take the polygraph test. He said he's not taking a polygraph test because TBI have told him not to. So that's something else that came up. Nancy does always come over as angry. That's part of her style, Charlie, I think. Okay, and the last thing I want to show you about Sebastian is just that, you know, JLR is another YouTube channel that I quite like. And he has been, you might want to go over to his channel because he has been to the scene of, because he goes to the scene, doesn't he? He's a boots on the ground person. He's been to the Texas Roadhouse, Sebastian's last stop, where supposedly on the Sunday...
Interactions with anybody.
Sorry.
Between Texas Roadhouse and when you return.
Supposedly the day before he disappeared, this is where they went, wasn't it, for dinner?
Anybody. Gotta ask those questions. Gotta ask those questions.
Now, I'm not going to watch this video because this is JLR's video, but you may want to go over to JLR's channel if you haven't seen it and see this where he has been to the Roadhouse. I'm sure he'll have some more videos from here later. But it's interesting to see the scene, isn't it?
Ask these questions. Did you stop for gas? Did you pull over? Did you go to the convenience store? Did you go get yourself a snack at Circle K or Speedway? Or where else did you go? Sunday night. It was Sunday night. Katie, when you went to Texas Roadhouse, Katie Proudfoot, what did you eat there? What did you eat? Did you have any alcohol? Are you on any medications? You know, even though that might be a privacy matter, but that's up to her to reveal that information.
I don't think she'll want to go on JLR's channel to be interviewed because he's got a bit of a downer on her and the stepfather, which fair enough, that's his opinion. But, you know, obviously, if you come down too hard on one side or another without any evidence, it's not necessarily a good thing. But JLR is always interesting to watch, isn't he?
Wants to reveal the information about her own medications, she can do it. If she wants to release the information about what type of medications Sebastian was on, if he was on any, she can do that. It's not a HIPAA violation. You can share if you choose, if you want to. Now let's talk about bowling. I see a lot of people commenting bowling shoes. Shoes. You know, people are talking about maybe Sebastian took the bowling shoes with him from the bowling alley. And there was some sort of argument that transpired. And Katie took it out on Sebastian because Sebastian wasn't wearing his regular shoes. There's people that say that. Melinda, thank you, JLR, for all you do and continue to do for Sebastian. Thank you, Melinda. We'll be here this weekend. I'm taking you back up to the Texas Roadhouse. We walked a block radius. I kind of just show you the area. You see for yourself.
Okay, so he's going to be there all weekend. He seems to have spoken to one of the waitresses. Let me just show you that, actually.
On him.
Here's the road.
Has been communicating with me and told me, stuff that we've shared on JLR Investigates.
So he's been to the Roadhouse. He spoke to the waitress that served them. He's in contact with her, and he's going to be there all weekend. So I'm sure there'll be some more interesting snippets coming out from him.
She might even be watching right now. Thank you. Appreciate this support. But yeah, Texas Roadhouse. Did somebody come and meet him here? Did somebody come and meet him here?
So these are all the questions. Did somebody come and meet them there? Was the CCTV at the Roadhouse? So I'm sure JLR will be looking at all that over the weekend. I think that's it for Sebastian. Yeah, so just to finish off, I just want to show you a couple of things that are a bit lighter. So first thing I want to show you is how, for British people, have you seen this? About this Tory MP who apparently has been targeted in a honey trap sexting scam. Now, I'm just going to play this video and you tell me what you think. I think he's just been, a naughty boy, and now that he's been found out, he's just trying to make the best of it, personally.
Video I didn't expect to make on a Friday evening, but a month ago I was a victim of cyber flashing and malicious communications and blew the whistle by reporting it to the police and the parliamentary authorities as soon as this happened. The first set of messages I got was on a day I was with my wife, and I got a one-time open photo on WhatsApp of an explicit image of a naked lady. As soon as I got these, the next day I reported it to the police, the authorities.
It's like a Little Britain sketch, isn't it? Anyway.
And the chief whip. 10 days later, I got another set of messages. This time, however, I was sat with my team in the constituency office. So we were able to record the conversation and catch photos and videos of the messages coming through, including another explicit female image. Why am I talking about this now? Well, I actually wanted it to be private because there's an ongoing police investigation. It's been ongoing for a month, but you've probably seen in the national media, I've been hounded by journalists asking me about it. It's not too difficult to work out. There are only a few Leicestershire MPs.
In other words, I've been caught out, so now I feel like I've got to say something about it.
So I've put my name up to say, well, I hope others come forward. I'm just pleased I blew the whistle, reported it to the authorities, and it's now being looked into.
Whatever. Okay, so that was one thing I wanted to show you. And then something else that came up on Sky News that I thought you might find interesting is about these monkey wars, which now monkeys, I love animals. I love all animals, but monkeys, I'm a little bit, they're a bit scary. They can be a bit scary. Anyway, these monkeys have taken over this town practically. Let's have a look at the video.
Now, you or the monkeys?
We are trying to control them, even if they're trying to control us.
They have become hungrier and more aggressive, and they have scared the tourists away too. These are the monkeys of Lopburi. They're smart, nimble, brazen.
So they started off as like a tourist attraction, and the officials were happy to have them there because people would go and see them. But they've become too much, like where most places have cat colonies. Also, here in Spain, there's quite a lot of cat colonies. I think it's Thailand, is it? Or Lopburi, wherever that is. It's monkeys.
Hungry. Gangs of rival macaques have taken over the city, with some attacking people. The police are so worried about alpha male aggression, they've set up a special unit to scare them off, armed with wooden slingshots.
Now, just to warn you, if you're sensitive, they do catapult these monkeys, And they also shoot them with, not with guns, with tranquilizer darts, because they take them off to be sterilized. They're looking for the ringleaders. There's ringleaders, like gang leaders.
I've just been told that the monkey this man is trying to get is known as Krupala, which means gym teacher. So called because he keeps stealing students' belongings, but he's proving pretty tricky to catch.
He was fittingly agile, but another on the most wanted list slipped.
No, he just picks up the tranquilizer dart and he starts playing with it as if it's a toy. Oh, God. You know, monkeys are clever. They'll be difficult to catch.
Into view. The shot is only the start. The monkey pulls out the tranquilizer, chewing it like a toy. This still, for now, his playground. Primates running rings round their potential captors. Some take the bait more easily. They will all be taken to a temporary shelter, sterilized before being released to other more suitable areas.
Are there not more humane ways to deal?
Now, so they're trying to reduce the population of these monkeys because they've gone from being like a curiosity, a tourist attraction, to being, you know, dangerous because they're taking food off children and things like that. And to be fair, they're not killing them, culling them, which, you know, I'm sure some countries would just go out and shoot them. They're not doing that. They're tranquilizing them. They're taking off them to be sterilized. It's what they do with the cat colonies here in Spain, in my area. That's exactly what they do. They trap them, they take them off, sterilize them, and they try and reduce the population that way. So hopefully it'll work
with these monkeys.
We sterilize them to decrease their population and then relocate them. There are many ways we treat them humanely.
The earlier dart has finally kicked in, and the team can retrieve an alleged troublemaker, now heavily sedated. His friends watch anxiously as he lies unconscious. The monkey would hide and then snatch my daughter's milk bottle and snacks, Bunya Porn told me. The monkeys have long been a symbol of local culture, drawing in tourists who feed them, and some say the problem. But soon the Royal Thai Army will also join the effort to try and take control.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, I am an animal lover, but you have to do something about it, especially if they're taking food off children, etc. I do think they're doing it in a humane way, at least. I hope it all works out. It's better than culling them, I think. But anyway. Okay, so no, I would hate to have a chimpanzee. I definitely would hate to have a chimpanzee, but yeah, I find monkeys a little bit scary. But having said that, I would never do any harm to one, and it's nice to watch them there on the video, but I wouldn't want them on me. Oh dear me. Ooh. Monkeys are dangerous. They are, yeah. And you know that chimpanzees are very strong and very dangerous. And also, you know, when you see, there's been incidences, haven't there, where chimpanzees have killed people that have kept them as pets because they're so strong, or they've killed the friends of people who've kept them as pets. I don't believe they should be kept as pets. They should be in the wild. That's where they should be, living their best life out in the wild as nature intended. But yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to now, I just want to say, I can see you talking there, Chumba, about exchanging emails. I'm not doing that anymore. So not through me, I'm afraid. If you want to exchange emails, I'm not doing that anymore because there was a problem with someone. So I'm not exchanging emails for you. If you want to exchange emails, that's fine. You have to find another way around it. I'm sorry. Okay. Oh, you're doing it on there. So is Faye putting it up on there? It's up to you. If you want to put your emails up on there, that's fine. But I'm not getting involved with exchanging emails with people anymore because there was a little bit of an incident. So that's it. So I hope you've enjoyed the stream. It's quite a long one. Sorry about the dog barking. If 411's still listening, sorry it woke you up and you had, well, woke your dogs up and you had to get out of bed. I'll see you very soon in the next video. I will be breaking it down. I will edit out the dog barks. And I'll break this down into all the various things. If you put your email up on there, or, you know, I know you might not want to put it up publicly, but I don't know any other way that I can do it. So I know sometimes people like to get in touch, but I can't get involved in that. So thank you so much, as always, for watching. Don't forget to leave your DNA on the like button on the way out, or leave your fingerprint on the like button. I'll speak to you very soon. Any updates on any of these cases, I'll be back to tell you about them. Thank you so much. And remember to live and love carefully and wisely. Don't go to Thailand with all those monkeys running about. And I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, may your God always go with you. Bye-bye.